This time on Make It Perfect, I will be answering questions that I thought of and that Daniel thought of. And we are going to take our time and do a legit episode of Make It Perfect. Just me. Am I nervous, Daniel? You asked if I was nervous. Fuck no. All right, let's hit it. What part of myself do I hope no one ever notices? God. Well, they're gonna notice now, man, fuck. I think it's a mixed bag because there's two things that come up for me. One is my belly. My belly. Got a little body vibes happening, you know, that's one thing. Tried to hide it, suck it in. Because I was a chunky little guy. A chunky big guy. So that's one thing. And then the other thing, it's tricky because I hope people don't notice Tourette syndrome a lot of the time, but it's such a big part of my identity and serves me in a way that keeps me like fighting and looking at insufficiencies in myself. There was a time like, in maybe 2018, I realized that Tourette's is like a superpower, and I still kind of do. But I think deeper than that is my ability to communicate what is happening while Tourette's is happening, while tics are happening. And I've done a lot of work to realize the feelings and the thoughts and the triggers and all the stuff that goes into one tic. And that one is the middle fingers. I utilize that a lot. And I realized that the middle finger, I've said it a bunch of times, it morphs into different meaning. So the middle finger in that part has a lot of fear involved in it. And it has a lot of shame and judgment involved in it. So when I'm at my therapy sessions, which I do quite a bit, my psychologist asks me what are the feelings about that? And I remember one time he goes, just flip me off. So it was hard for me to flip the guy off. So I try to hold it back, you know, he's like, and he goes, just flip me off, Ryan. And he did this. It was pretty good. So I just flipped him off. But am I going to walk around flipping people off in public? That'd be pretty sick. Maybe I do kind of, I don't know. Anyway. When do I feel like I'm faking it the most? Every time that I try to be funny, like and Make It Perfect. I used to be like, I went through this time of like when I got real serious, man, because I was trying to heal Tourette syndrome and all this stuff. And they, somebody somewhere told me I couldn't. And I was like, fuck that, I'm going to do it, But, and I used to be pretty funny, like naturally funny. And for some reason, I just got real serious because I started digging into what was actually happening inside of me that I was unaware of, like unconscious of. And when I started digging into that side of myself and how do I use Tourette syndrome to gain things, or how much do I lie, or how much am I an active participant in my own suffering, I got real serious because those are pretty serious topics, and I kind of lost my sense of humor. Which was so natural for me for so long. And I had some friendships and relationships that I just let kind of suck that part out of me. And I wish I would have been more aware of what was happening in these relationships, like friendships, while it was happening. But everything in the right time, I think. But so I just got real serious and I started losing my sense of humor. I got super sensitive and I didn't have any joy, man, and it's hard. Joy is hard to come by sometimes, just like contentment sometimes. But honestly, when I lost my sense of humor, it's like another part of me emerged that needed to come up. So now when I feel like I am being funny or try to be funny on these things, I'm just like, God damn. Or like I look at myself on TikTok. I mean, everybody's an idiot, me included. And it's like, I want that natural, gregarious Ryan Rado to come back. So If you've seen him, let me know so I can put him right back up in here. You know what I mean? What's next? What do I get joy from? Oh, my little man, my little boy, man, Harrison. Like, God, man. And that's joy. You know what I mean? That's like real joy. I just really do. And even when he's being a little turd, man, it's like, I never, he's 5 years old, man. We got a long way to go. And I'm just delighted by his presence. Wow. This is like real joy, tears of joy. And woo, who hurt me in a way that I can never fully repair? No one. And I mean that. And I say that with humility and a massive amount of faith, because maybe it could happen someday, but that healing is up to me. It really is up to me, and it's up to you. And I've been through some crazy ass shit in my life, man. And not crazier than some, but crazy on a scale that is like, holy fuck, dude. The weakest I was when I was blaming other people for how much I was hurt. Though I had valid reason. All of that blame and all of the anger that went with it served me quite a bit, because it gave me fuel to create art. It gave me fuel to like, the energy that comes from resentment and anger is so visceral, and it's like you could almost take a bite out of it. I've had repairing conversations with family members that physically abused me for years. I believe that we are in a spot where we can actually show each other love, and that is a miracle, man. And I know that doesn't exist for a lot of people, and why would people even want to? But for me, I'm saying like reconciliation is a huge thing, and resolve and being able to talk and not leave, not blow up, be able to sit there and talk and come to some kind of resolution. That is a massive gift. And being able to communicate how you feel and learning about how you feel, man, that's like, because it's such a galaxy inside of us of feeling. It's like you think you have one feeling figured out, and then there's 1,000 other oblique angles that you can look at this feeling, and then you mix someone else's feelings in with that. It never ends. It never ends. And then you find yourself way like right back up into this resentment, the drama triangle, What would I say to someone during Suicide Awareness Month, or in general, that is having a hard time with feeling suicidal? That's a tough spot to be in. That's like a hell, I think first I would just sit with them and listen. I don't know if I would say anything. And I've had a history of saying a lot of things and like therapizing people, and I don't do that as much anymore. That was when I felt the weakest, when I felt like I had to tell anyone else about themselves. So I think I would just listen, and then I would ask what they needed. And even though they might not know what they need, just to sit there and listen to them. Because I feel like if someone's going to commit suicide, and this is, maybe I'm way off here, man, but if someone's going to commit suicide, there's a lot of resentment in that, and a lot of loneliness. And resentment and loneliness a lot of times comes from feeling like from my own experience, feeling like no one's hearing you. So yeah, I would just sit with someone and listen to them. I don't know if I would say much. I think I'd listen if they had like a legitimate plan. And then after listening to them, if I felt like I had to make a judgment call to help them, I would do that. But first I would just listen. Yeah. If all of my fantasies came true. Because I'm prone to I would say that I'm addicted to fantasy. And when I say fantasy, I'm talking about living in a space of creating a reality, because the reality that I'm in is scary for me to say, so I flip off the camera. I'm a little nervous, but living in a fantasy world, because in the moment I believe that the reality I'm in is too hard for me to process or be in. And the fantasies I create in my mind take me away from here so quickly. And when I was younger, I had to have a big fantasy world because there was so much violence, negativity, and emotional abuse when I was a kid. I had to have something to feel safe in, so I just started creating these fantasies. And whether that's being somewhere else, whether that's being with somebody else, whether that's being a rock star or meeting a rock star, or that I feel like could save me, or even being violent towards somebody, I will get on these fantasies. So if all of my fantasies came true, my life would be wasted. What is freedom to me? I mean, the first thing that pops up is discipline. And I know a lot of people have said that. A lot of people say that, man. That's something that is tough for me. Discipline is really tough. Discipline, and having the discipline to be able to rest, and the discipline to be able to goof around, having the discipline to set aside time for myself to just be a fucking idiot. That's important. That's important, because I don't want to rock around being a fucking idiot all the time. And I don't want to rock around, which I would be so depressed if I just was disciplined all the time. That would suck, like all these dudes that are like, optimize, optimize, optimize. No, that doesn't sound good, because you just need time to fuck off and be a complete idiot. You know what I mean? But so I think, to me, that's what discipline, that's what freedom would be, is like being able to hold both of those things at the same time. So I just answered the question about what I think freedom is. And then the next question you said was what is still holding me? Like what am I still chained to in myself? I would say my addictions, man. And that goes along with like thought patterns and even like Starbucks addiction. That sounds insane, you know? My addiction to needing validation, that holds me back quite a bit. And everybody needs that to a point. You're not an island out there not needing any validation. Fuck you. That's just not happening. You need something. You need someone somewhere telling you that, hey, you're doing a fucking good job, buddy. I'll be that guy for you, man. But unless you're too tough. But yeah, I would say the thing that holds me back are my addictions, man. And I remember talking to a dude one time, and just being addicted to feeling insecure about stuff, you know, and having insecurities is normal. But I remember talking to one dude one time, long time ago. I mentioned insecurity, and I was like, "What are your insecurities?" And he goes, "I don't have any." And I was like, "What the fuck?" Which is impossible, completely impossible. You haven't dealt with yourself yet at that point. Granted, this is a long time ago, man. So at that time, I was dealing with stuff in my life that was probably just insanely ridiculous, you know. But anyway, yeah. So that's my answer on that right now.
Yeah, how do you convince yourself to leave if there is any limits?
God, dude. You know what? I was married for 15 years and it didn't work out. It worked out in other ways. It worked out quite a bit. You might be able to start with identifying the red flags in yourself. A good way to do that from my perspective is that whole thing, if you spot it, you got it. You got to be able to talk. And maybe it takes a while to get to a point where you can actually talk and admit the things that you're doing wrong without having someone to be in that space of, what did you do wrong though? What did you do wrong? Just exist in the vulnerability of possibly being wrong by yourself without bringing anyone, anything else in with it into the boat. Just see if you can exist there and resist that pull to bring someone in or a situation into the boat with you when you are strong enough to admit that you were wrong, or you didn't see something the way that you see it now, or you said something that was just so shitty, you know. All of this stuff comes from when you were a kid, man. So do your best not to blame yourself, you know. And, you know, but sometimes some things are so blatantly sketch that it's, go to therapy. Go to therapy. I swear to God. And if you see something in someone else, you see something in their family, you see something happen in their family, just pay attention to you. Myself, pay attention to how am I fulfilling, how am I being a continuation of a red flag in someone's family? How am I assuming the role of that person for my partner? And how much of that are they putting on me? Deciding those two things is a big deal, and that takes time, but because you just become a projection of someone else in their family, and it's unavoidable, and they become that for you. So they're fulfilling some kind of past relationship for you as you go forward. And as far as leaving, bro, I don't know. I really don't know. That is really tough. That is really tough. It's the best I can do on that. So the question is, I call myself an artist, and am I doing it for validation from other people or just for myself? Both. And that's, unless you're out in the woods stacking rocks somewhere and you're just playing and stuff, you might be able to get away with that. But curious, if you're doing something so solo out in the wilderness, stacking some art, how much are you missing in your mind of like, God, man, if I could build this into something, oh, beautiful. Man, I wish my mom could see this. I wish someone I love so deeply could see what I'm creating here. Is that creating out of validation for someone else? I don't know. So it's like, you really but then it becomes work, and it's like, you're making this work. Why are you making this work? Just to make it? You got to be able to balance being okay with making it for validation and be okay with making it for yourself. Those two things can exist. And I've noticed when I'm making it for myself, my buddy Todd mentioned a long time ago the fake moves that artists make. And I make a fake move when I am over that line of being in the flow and being too much in my head, man. I start making work for other people, thinking they'll buy it or think that I'm like this great artist. And then, you know, I hear all these voices that are like, oh, that's the wrong move. Oh, you're doing this, you know, blah, 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 blah. These are fake moves. And then I find myself just being fuck off in my head. I have a lot of conversations with people while I'm painting in my head. And I like that and I don't like it. And the more that I let go of those like conversations when I'm working, just the better my work is, you know what I mean?